everybody. I'm so excited for you to join us, and we have the privilege today of speaking with Debbie Martis, who is the founder and CCO of Rebirth Homes, which is a local ministry for women who have been trafficked. And so, welcome, Debbie. How are
Thank,
you?
thank you so much. I'm
Well,
doing great,
well, thank you
and
so much for being here.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure. Well, since When She Leads is for women who serve and are basically in leadership, we thought you would be a perfect person to interview
Mhm.
since you are obviously serving, but a woman in leadership. And so we have some questions on that line. So,
Sure,
why don't you share a little bit about who you are and Rebirth Homes and what exactly you do there?
sure. So I am, as Kelly mentioned, the CEO and founder of Rebirth Homes. We exist to fight human trafficking through education and by providing a long-term residential healing program for survivors of human trafficking. So, me as a person, I'm a wife, a mom, and a new grandma, which I love.
Oh,
And
congratulations. I see the pictures on Instagram. So cute.
yeah, they're so cute. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me and Rebirth Homes.
So, how long has Rebirth Homes been in existence?
So, God gave me the vision for Rebirth Homes in 2012, and I've been working in the field of anti-trafficking since 2008. But it's hard to believe this year will be 13 years
That's
since,
amazing.
yes, since the beginning of Rebirth Homes.
How long have I known you? For 13 years or no?
Probably, um, probably about 9 or 10.
About 9 or 10 years. Yes, we go back. We met them at a conference, and so have kind of loved them and their ministry, and are really excited about what God is doing there. Can you tell us a little bit about your faith journey? Like how because I really want to encourage ladies that have they have a dream or they have a sense that God's calling them to do something. So, but don't know kind of what to do. And so stories and testimonies are so helpful and encouraging. So tell us a little bit about your journey in starting Rebirth.
Sure. So when God gave the vision in 2012, I was excited and said, okay, sure, we can do that. We can open homes for
So
women
God
who have,
just gave you the vision.
he gave me the
Or yeah.
vision, and it
Okay.
was confirmed through a variety of sources.
Okay.
So it included reading a book that ultimately had the exact same story, except for it was somebody in Tennessee. So God used a book, people, just one step at a time. He kept
Mhm.
showing me this is what you need to do. And I think early on, I kind of wrestled with that question of what would I do if I was aware of a situation like slavery? What if I lived during that time? Would I do anything about it?
Mm.
And he kept putting books in front of me, and I would think they were going to be some like easy to read book. And book after book, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm reading about the Civil War. I'm
Yeah.
reading about everything um, related to slavery.
Yeah.
And I couldn't escape, and I kept wrestling with that question, like, what would I do?
Mhm.
And God just showed me, yeah, this is what my plan is for you.
And you had already been working, you said, in the field of
Hmm.
human trafficking before this. Okay.
Yeah, just really in the area of awareness and
Mm-hmm.
education.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I had journeyed with a family member through who almost died from addiction. And God showed me that He can do the impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happened leading up to getting the vision for Rebirth Homes. So then when he gave the vision and I wrote it all out, then he started showing me, oh, yeah, there's confirmation through somebody else who's doing it. And then somebody, I would meet somebody randomly and they would
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, we've been praying for homes for survivors of human trafficking for about a year, which is
Mm.
when he gave the vision.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was just all of these little pieces to a puzzle that he was using to show me, yes, this is my plan.
Wow. So what steps did you take? Okay, Lord, I've confirmed, I hear you.
Hmm.
Now, what did you do?
Well, I think
Besides
at one,
pray and cry and all that. Yeah.
yes, I did all of that.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, I almost thought, I think that was just an idea. We'll kind of put it on the back burner, but I couldn't walk away. So
Mm-hmm.
it started with meeting one person at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would meet one person and they would say, oh, you should go meet with this next person. And then it was like one door at a time would open. And eventually, what happened is we had a team of volunteers who were probably, it was probably about 10 people who really caught the vision. And we came together and then we started putting together structure.
Mm-hmm.
So things like, oh, we should have a website. Oh, we should have social media. We need to incorporate as a 501c3. We need to, set up all the pieces, a bank account,
All the
little
things,
things,
yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
So, and that was really how it all progressed, was one step at a time. And then after a lot of prayer, we started fundraising. So in 2014, we had our first fundraiser, and we it was supposed to be a practice fundraiser, but it ended up being um, people I didn't know showed up, and then we raised $7,000
At your practice.
at our
Wow.
practice. And it was, again, 2014. And I thought, oh, wow, I think this is really going to happen. So then we just
Wow.
kept building one step at a time.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. So your experience before you opened Rebirth Home, though, you had kind of CEO experience or management experience, correct?
yeah, so I had worked in the for profit sector managing a large corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And then God called me into ministry. So then I went on staff with my former church
Mm-hmm.
and was the executive director. So I kind of managed all of the aspects of the church. And so had this mix of business and ministry
Wow.
experience that
Wow.
helped. It helps now.
Yeah. 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 I think it's such a great testimony though to see so oftentimes we're doing something, whether it's a job, a ministry, whatever, and you don't realize till 10 years down the line how God used it to get you where you're going. Nothing's wasted. I guess I'm trying to say, like
Hmm.
everything that we went through, every weird job, every thing that we've done, God has used it to train us and to prepare us for the next step. And I think you're a great example of that.
Mm.
That's amazing. How did you know? Well, I guess you kind of answered it. It was the Lord, just because He didn't let you stop thinking. I think that's what happened to me. I couldn't turn away anymore. Like you just
Hmm.
couldn't. It was just compelling. Is that what you would say? You
Hmm.
just knew,
Yeah.
and
I
your
couldn't
family
I couldn't
agreed,
run
and
away.
yeah, you tried. No, I'm
I
kidding.
tried a few times.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, yeah, that was a good idea. We'll just kind of put it to the side. And
yeah.
then,
We're so glad you didn't, Debbie. Talk about a woman in leadership. And just an amazing example to me of your faithfulness over all these years and being so diligent and a huge dream. I mean, I don't know if you want to call it dream, maybe calling or just your faithfulness to it. And I know that's what God calls us to do. Just say yes and He will equip us. But what advice would you give to someone who feels, I don't know, a lot of times they say, I'll have a dream, or sense this calling to step out of ministry, whether small or large. I want to start this, I want to do this. I don't know, what advice would you give, or what advice was given to you that was most helpful for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think one thing I would suggest is just making sure that you have a good support team so that you're not doing it alone.
Right,
And
right.
I had gone to a conference, and it was in the midst of me asking God, why is this taking so long? And they said the it was an African proverb, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to be strong, you go together, or something
Mm,
like that, to
I
that
think I've heard
effect.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So um I think that, and then during the preparation time, I met with a friend of mine who's actually the executive director of another nonprofit, and
Mm-hmm.
she said, "Wow, God's really given you a big vision. Let
Mm-hmm.
me give you this book. It's called Visioneering by Andy Stanley."
Mm-hmm.
And so I started reading the book, and sure enough, it was perfect timing to realize that the bigger the vision, the longer it takes,
Oh,
and to
that's
be
really good.
patient and to not put my timelines on what he's going to do, but
Mm.
to trust him in his timing. So, yeah.
That's great. I was listening to the radio yesterday, and the girl who was speaking said there's a revelation time and a realization time.
Mm,
Revelation time when he shows you what he wants to do, and then all that time, that doesn't mean we don't train ourselves and get educated and learn how to do it. And then the realization time is when it happens, and not to grow weary in the time in between, because God's using that. So, what a
yeah.
great example, and that was great advice. Always
Hmm.
have a team. That's amazing. And your family's very supportive. I know they're all in,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Family. In the very beginning, it was it was really hard because I was the primary breadwinner, even though I was in full-time ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and my husband was a stay-at-home dad. And so we had a sense of security because I was in full-time ministry, and we had the benefits, we had all of those things that come with an established
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
And so um, I remember my husband Kevin and I were talking, and he kept asking how. And I was like, I don't know.
You
I
mean how's
just
this
know.
going to work? You mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how is this
What?
going to work?
Yeah.
He was asking the how question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just kept saying, I'm not really sure how. I just know that God has a plan and a vision for people who have been trafficked. And so we kept going back and forth, and he would say, but how? How is this going to work? How is it going to work? And I'm like, I really don't know. I just know that he has a plan. And so, um, that phase is now completely the opposite, where he is he will say, yeah, we know this is God's ministry, and he is going to take care of us, take care of every part of it. And so it's been a radical
Yeah.
transformation, I think, in
And he's
terms
an
of it.
active part in it. He's a very
He's
active part. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's your daughter.
Yes. And my
Yeah.
daughter has God called her as well, which I'm thankful for. She's working on her MFT at Cal Baptist
Oh, that's great.
University,
Yeah.
and so
What's her role there?
she's she's our program coordinator.
Program coordinator. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you said one of the things, one of my questions is what are some of the challenges that you have found as you went forward and took the step of faith? I think the one you said was like the financial, kind of sacrifice of what it's going to look like. But any other challenges you feel? Well, I guess there's probably a million, but ones that come to the top of your head.
Yeah, I think the hardest challenge is, and it still is now, is um, the the relationship part in terms of people would in the very beginning said, "Hey, what you're gonna do what?" Like they didn't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we definitely lost relationships along the way. And even to this day, some people just can't understand why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so that's hard
Yeah.
because there are people that we truly love and care for. And um, sometimes those who are closest to us are also those who will oppose us the greatest when God gives us a vision
Yes.
that doesn't make sense in the worldly perspective.
So maybe some of those people who don't understand why you do what you do are listening. Why do you do what you do?
Yeah. Number
Let's
one,
get it out there. Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
number one, it's God's calling.
Okay.
Two, almost daily, I hear from women who are in our residential programs who say thank you.
Mm,
And they say, there is nothing like this out there. And you have created a place where we are safe, we
mm,
feel cared for, and you are taking care of every possible need. And so
that's amazing.
I have a discipleship class with them. We go through like an old study,
Mm-hmm.
experiencing God.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the class, I'm hearing from them what God is doing in their lives,
Mm,
and to think about where they were when we met them
yeah.
and see where they are now is every day I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what he wants and it's my calling. It doesn't feel like work. It's just this is what I'm supposed to do.
Mm. So it's like about restoration, the restoration home, I guess. I don't know if you interpret that. Do you? Like what? Very briefly, what would you say you do there? And why do you think people are opposed? I mean, I have my own opinions, but it's not about me or my opinion. But are they opposed to human traffic? Like that it's happening, they don't believe it, or um, the survivors don't need help? What do you think that they're opposed to? That was like 12 questions in one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm
What do
trying to
you do
think.
there, and why do you think they're opposed?
Yeah. So in our long-term residential program, which is 2 years long,
Mm-hmm.
we are providing whatever is needed. So that could look like clothing. We have housing as part of it, um, food. We also provide counseling
Mm-hmm.
through a counseling center. We have about 10 to 12 courses per week that are focused on life skills as well as coping skills. And then one of the biggest things we do is employment.
Mm-hmm.
So after they've been with us for 3 months, we will employ them through our Freedom Shop, where
Mm-hmm.
we sell survivor made products. We make candles and soaps in house. And so what's great about that is they're working a job. So they are on our payroll
Mm-hmm.
and get that experience of, hey, I have a paycheck. I'm learning how to save money. And ultimately, the goal is they will be self sustainable.
So that also
Um,
goes on their resume. As
and
long
it
as
goes
they
on their
don't have any
resume.
job experience, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'm trying to think why I think people in some cases are uncomfortable with
Mm-hmm.
the subject of human trafficking. I remember telling somebody years ago, "Oh, this is what, God is calling me to do." And they said, "I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to listen to what you're
Yeah.
saying."
La la la
And
la la.
and I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's one extreme. And I did work in the business world and in leadership
Yeah,
roles, and they kind of asked the question, why would you want to
yeah,
give up your
yeah,
life to
yeah,
do this? And so I think maybe that's another
yeah.
part of it. Um,
Did you say, why wouldn't you? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. No,
um,
all right.
so,
I think in the beginning, Debbie, and I'm sure you attest to this too, back in the day when you started, there was a thing like people thought human trafficking was more overseas and it wasn't domestic. And so I don't know if they'd say they didn't believe it, but I mean, the same as you, when we started talking about it and trying to get involved, a lot of people left our church, and churches, uh, um, what's it called? They shined away from you because they said, "Oh, you're into social justice now, and you're not preaching the gospel." And we're like, "Wait, what? This is part of the gospel." And
yeah,
so I think it was a fear of unknown. I think, I guess. And then once they understood, the world started talking about it more too. That this was a thing, and stuff like that. Do you agree with that?
I think it's definitely improved over time.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge that we have too is that certain movies portray
Mm-hmm.
an unrealistic view of human trafficking. And
Yeah.
so then it triggers this emotional response of, oh, I just want to, I want to save them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we do a lot of training and explain, as
Yeah.
people, we're not saving them. It is only through Christ that we are saved. Um, we can do the work, which
Mm-hmm.
is there is a lot of work, but there is a lot of misinformation
Yeah.
out there.
A lot of
So,
myths, and they're dangerous too. I agree with
mhm.
you. So that's good. Where do you see Rebirth Homes maybe in 5 years? That's a
Yep,
weird question, but
yeah, that's a,
wherever the
um,
Lord wants. No, but
yeah,
do
exactly.
you have a long term goal or what that God's calling you forward?
Yeah, so I think it's two parts. One is expanding our social enterprise, Freedom Shop, that I talked about before.
Which little commercial is amazing. I smelled every smell and used every lotion. It is amazing. You can go to their website that I'll have Debbie share with you after. That's my commercial. All right, go ahead.
rebirthhomes.com
There you go.
and click on the Freedom Shop link,
Yes.
and you can order online.
Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead.
So,
Sorry.
um, so I think expansion of the Freedom Shop with the intent of increasing employment for the participants in our programs. It's
Okay.
just such an important aspect. Number two is expansion overseas. So
Mm.
that has been something on our hearts from the very beginning. Actually, it is part of the vision that God gave in 2012. So we will share more information as that comes
Mm-hmm.
to fruition, but we are definitely looking at that.
Well, you recently acquired another home. So how many homes do you have?
So we currently have 3 homes in Riverside County, and we recently acquired a home in Corona. We call
Mm-hmm.
it the Corona Castle because
Mm-hmm.
it's really big and beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
we're so
awesome.
blessed.
That's
So,
awesome. So if someone, okay, I got two questions left. Someone wanted to be involved in human trafficking. It's a very broad question, but how would you suggest they get started?
so I think if you are interested in helping in any way in human trafficking, start with education and focus on learning from individuals who either have lived the experience or organizations who are either survivor led or have that in depth knowledge of human trafficking. So again, there's a lot of misinformation out there. But I think start with education, learn more about it, and then the next step is to look in your community, and Kelly Bell is a really great resource.
If you're in my community, yeah.
Yeah, so she has some really great ideas. And I honestly hope you can share some of your ideas because you have some really great ones on
Okay.
how to get involved physically
Mhm.
in the fight.
Well, thank you for that. I think, well, I don't have time to share all my thoughts, but that's another podcast. But I will say, I think my biggest passion, and I think I know you agree, is that everyone can do something. And that I heard a quote recently from a guy from, oh, I forget where he's from actually, but he said, do what you love to fight what you hate. And
Mm,
I love that quote because we don't have, like, you have a specific calling to start this home. We all don't have to start something. There's enough works that we can be involved with, enough survivors that we can come alongside and help in a zillion different ways. But use what are your gifts, talents, and resources, and how can I use that in the fight? If you're a hairdresser, a doctor, a lawyer, like whatever, we can help in this fight. And so, again, do what you love to fight what you hate. That's my plug for the day. But okay, what if someone, again, to wrap it up, the nonprofit sector or starting something, or someone who feels called to something, just one last piece of advice or something you feel like we should know, to encourage that listener who's sitting there going, "Oh, but I'm so afraid," I
mm.
don't know.
Yeah, I think no matter what the calling or purpose is, um, it seems as though God has brought others to do the same. So I would say to start, reach out to those who are doing the work and then see what you can do to, either walk with them, learn from them, or volunteer with them. And that's the best case scenario is volunteering in the capacity that you are feeling called to to follow.
That's
So,
great. Hmm.
yeah. So start there and then it'll build over time.
Yes, that's great. Learn from there. And I think we should be teachable. I think so often we don't do that because we want to do it our way or we think we know. We need to be teachable because there have been others who go before us who have made the mistakes, and have
Yeah.
so much to share and link arms. We're all about partnership and collaboration and learning from one another. So that is a great word. I also want to say that Rebirth Homes is part of our Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, and we're blessed by that. But wherever you're listening from, I think one thing you can do, and I think Debbie would agree too, is contact your own task force in your area, where the closest one to you, and see what they're doing. See how you can be involved there as well, and become an arm of them. And I think you can learn a lot too from your task force and letting them know that you support them. You're on their team. They always say whether you're buying gift cards for the people they're working with, having them come out and do trainings, because when law enforcement comes, somehow it adds more credibility sometimes to what you're talking about. So look up your task force wherever you are. I think that's great. Would you agree with that, Debbie?
I, yeah, I agree. I think that's great.
Okay. Well, any last or final thoughts before we sign off?
Thank you. I appreciate you and your partnership and your time. So thank
Oh,
you.
well, thank you so much for joining this. I was going to say podcast. We're not a podcast. Our live session, and again, looking for women who are in leadership and in serving, and looking at their faith journey and seeing what God has done. And you've been just such a faithful example, and we
Mm,
appreciate you taking the time to share with us. And so you can go for more information on Rebirth Homes, rebirthhomes.com. You can look at their website. There's ways you can be involved. There's the Freedom Shop, like she talked about. And so again, thank you, Debbie. Thank you all for listening, and God bless you.